They accused him in the hallway on purpose, not in a quiet office, not in a private conversation where misunderstandings could be corrected without damage. They did it where students could hear, where whispers could spread, where shame could stick like gum on a shoe. Deshaun, stop right there. The voice belonged to Ms. Lillian Avery, the testing coordinator at Eastbrook Preparatory Academy. She stood outside the computer lab with a clipboard pressed to her chest like a shield, lips tight, eyes narrowed. Two other adults were with her, Mr. Garrison, the assistant principal, and the proctor from the exam room, a white man named Mr. Rudd. They formed a triangle in the hallway that Deshaun had to walk through to get to his locker, and every student who passed slowed down just enough to catch the shape of what was happening. Deshaun Taylor froze mid-step, backpack strap still in his hand. He was 17 black and exhausted in the quiet way that comes from carrying your future like something fragile. He had just finished the Academy Scholarship Qualifier exam, 3 hours of timed sections that Eastbrook used to decide who got nomination letters for university summer programs and private scholarships. Deshaun had studied for months. He had slept 4 hours the night before because he'd been helping his little sister with a science project after his mom got home late from work. He'd walked into the exam room with a sharpened pencil and a steady heart. Now he stood in a hallway full of watching faces while adults looked at him like they'd already decided the truth. "What's going on?" he asked, voice calm but tight. Miss Avery didn't answer like it was a question. She answered like it was a verdict. "We have a concern about your test session. You were observed looking away from your screen multiple times, and your score trajectory is unusual." Unusual. That word was an accusation dressed as a statistic. Mr. Rudd added, "I saw you. You were looking down by your lap. That's not normal behavior for a student." Deshaun's stomach dropped. "I was thinking." Mr. Garrison stepped closer, lowering his voice like he was doing Deshaun a favor. "We're going to need you to come with us." Students passing by paused longer now. A girl Deshaun knew from calculus stared at him with wide eyes. A boy in a varsity jacket whispered something to his friend and laughed. Deshaun felt heat climb his neck, but he held himself still. "Come with you where?" Deshaun asked. "To review what happened," Miss Avery said. "If you were cheating, the score will be invalidated, and there will be consequences." Consequences. Deshaun heard his mother's voice in his head. "Don't argue with people who want you to look guilty. Ask for proof. Stay calm. Make them explain." So he said, "Show me the proof." Ms. Avery's lips tightened. "We don't have to show you anything to begin an investigation." Mr. Rudd crossed his arms. "If you're innocent, you shouldn't be nervous." Deshaun looked at him. "I'm nervous because you're accusing me in public." Mr. Garrison's tone hardened. "Watch your tone." There it was. The pivot. If you defend yourself, you become disrespectful. Deshaun swallowed and said carefully, "I want to see the footage." Ms. Avery blinked. "What footage?" "The security footage," Deshaun said, voice steady. "The lab has cameras," Mr. Rudd scoffed. "Cameras don't prove what you did." Deshaun replied, "Then why are you so sure?" Silence. They escorted him anyway, down the hallway toward the testing office. Students watched him pass like he was already guilty. Deshaun kept his head high, but inside he felt something crack. Not confidence, but trust. He'd believed that working hard would protect him. He'd believed that if he earned his place, people would respect it. But in one hallway, adults had decided his intelligence needed an explanation. Eastbrook Prep was the kind of school that said it prepared leaders. It sat in a wealthy suburb with glass science labs, banners for Ivy acceptances, and a donor wall in the foyer. They had scholarships for a few students from the city, and Deshaun was one of them. He'd been recruited in 8th grade after scoring top percentile on statewide math tests. Eastbrook gave him tuition aid, a laptop, and the unspoken pressure of representing their commitment to opportunity. Deshaun learned quickly what that meant in practice. It meant being praised when you performed in ways that made the school look good. It meant being watched more closely when you outperformed kids whose parents donated buildings. It meant being treated like a success story until you became a threat to someone else's story. Deshaun's mother, Keisha Taylor, worked 2 jobs, one at a clinic, one at night cleaning offices. She loved Eastbrook for what it gave her son: resources, teachers, access. But she also warned him quietly, some people will never believe you earned what you have. They will look for reasons. Deshaun thought he understood that. He didn't fully understand until Ms. Avery said unusual. In the small testing office, Miss Avery sat behind a desk and began writing notes. Mr. Garrison stood by the door. Mr. Rudd leaned against the wall like he was enjoying the power of the moment. Explain your behavior, Ms. Avery said. Deshaun blinked. My behavior? During the exam, she said. Why were you looking down? Deshaun exhaled slowly. I have a nervous habit. I tap my leg. I look away when I'm thinking. I wasn't looking at anything. Mr. Rudd laughed softly. Convenient. Deshaun's jaw tightened. You don't know me. Ms. Avery said, your score improvement from your last practice benchmark is significant. Deshaun stared. Because I studied. Ms. Avery's eyes narrowed. Students don't typically jump that much. Deshaun said, I'm not typical. Mr. Garrison snapped, don't get smart. Deshaun felt anger flare. Then he forced it down. He could feel the trap. If he got loud, they'd call him aggressive. If he cried, they'd call him manipulative. If he stayed calm, they'd call him cold. The only way out was evidence. I want the footage, he said again, and I want my mother called. Ms. Avery's expression cooled. We don't involve parents until we have. I'm 17, Deshaun cut in. Call her. Mr. Garrison hesitated. Then perhaps because refusing would look bad, he said, fine. He called Keisha. Keisha arrived 25 minutes later, still in scrubs from her clinic shift. Hair pulled back, eyes sharp with the kind of focus mothers get when they sense their child is being cornered. She didn't hug Deshaun immediately. She looked at the adults first. What's this about? She asked. Ms. Avery delivered the accusation smoothly. We have reason to believe Deshaun may have violated testing integrity. Keisha didn't flinch. Based on what? Mr. Rudd spoke, enjoying his authority. I observed suspicious behavior. Keisha looked at him. You're the proctor? Yes. Keisha nodded once. Then you have procedures. Show me the evidence. Miss Avery said, we're in the process of an internal review. Keisha's voice sharpened. So you called my son a cheater without evidence? Mr. Garrison raised his hands. Ma'am, calm down. Keisha turned on him. Don't tell me to calm down when you're threatening my child's future. The room went quiet. Deshaun felt pride rise in his chest. His mother wasn't going to let them control the narrative. Keisha looked at Miss Avery. Pull the footage. Miss Avery blinked. The footage? Keisha leaned forward. If you're so sure, you won't mind showing it. Unless you're not sure. Ms. Avery's cheeks flushed. Security footage is not part of standard. Keisha cut her off. Then why does the lab have cameras? Mr. Garrison sighed. We can ask the proctor. Mr. Rudd scoffed. I don't need footage. I saw him. Keisha's voice was ice. Then you won't mind being wrong on video. At that moment, the door opened and another adult entered. Mr. Nolan Briggs, head of school operations, the person who handled safety, security, and, quietly, liability. Nolan was white, early 50s, and had a face that said he preferred facts to drama. He'd been alerted because cheating accusation plus scholarship student plus angry parent was a formula schools fear. What's happening? Nolan asked. Miss Avery began. We suspect. Keisha cut in immediately. They accused my son of cheating. I want footage. Nolan looked at Deshaun. Which lab? Computer Lab 3, Deshaun said. Nolan nodded once. That lab has cameras. Mr. Rudd frowned. That doesn't prove. Nolan held up a hand. We'll see. He turned to Miss Avery. What's your basis for suspicion? Miss Avery said, behavioral irregularities and score anomaly. Nolan's eyes narrowed. No concrete evidence. Mr. Rudd said, I observed him looking down repeatedly. Nolan looked at him. Did you document it in real time? Mr. Rudd hesitated. I noted it. Nolan's face stayed neutral, but his tone sharpened slightly. We're pulling footage. Ms. Avery protested. This is not necessary. Nolan replied, it is now. They moved to Nolan's office where a monitor wall showed camera feeds. Deshawn and Keisha stood behind Nolan's chair. Miss Avery and Mr. Garrison stood to one side. Mr. Rudd crossed his arms, still confident. Nolan typed in the timestamp, the exam session, seat 14, Deshawn's station. The footage loaded. The screen showed the lab, rows of computers, students quiet, Proctor pacing. Deshawn at his station, head sometimes tilting, eyes looking up and away as he thought, his hand tapping his thigh beneath the desk. Mr. Rudd pointed. There! That's when he looked down. Nolan zoomed slightly. Hold! He rewound. He slowed the video. He watched Deshawn's hand. Then he paused and said, Interesting. Keisha leaned forward. What? Nolan rewound again and zoomed the angle under the desk as far as the camera allowed. Deshawn's lap area was visible enough to show movement, but not enough to see small details clearly. Mr. Rudd smiled, sure he'd won. See? He's looking down. Nolan didn't agree. He replayed the moment again, slower. Then he noticed something else. Not Deshawn's lap. Mr. Rudd's hands. At several points, as he paced, Mr. Rudd's hand drifted toward Deshawn's desk area, not touching the student, but hovering near the computer tower and cable ports. It happened quickly, like a habit. Nolan frowned. He rewound and watched again. At 10:17, Mr. Rudd paused behind Deshawn. His hand dipped toward the side of the desk. Then he moved on. At 10:42, the same motion. At 11:06, again. Nolan's expression changed. What is he doing? Miss Avery frowned. He's proctoring. Nolan leaned closer. No. He pulled up another camera angle. Doorway camera covering the row from the side. This angle was clearer. At 10:17, Mr. Rudd leaned and slid a small object from his pocket, something dark, rectangular, toward the side of Deshawn's station where cables ran. Then he straightened and walked away. Deshawn's stomach flipped. What is that? Keisha's voice went tight. Is he planning something? Mr. Rudd's face drained. That's... No! Nolan froze the frame. The object wasn't perfectly clear, but it looked like a small phone or cheat device. Nolan's voice dropped. Why would a proctor put anything near a student's station? Mr. Garrison's mouth opened. Mr. Rudd. Mr. Rudd stammered. It's not what it looks like. Nolan didn't blink. Then explain it. Mr. Rudd's eyes darted wildly. I dropped something. Nolan rewound and played again. The motion was deliberate, not a drop. Keisha turned to Miss Avery. You accused my son, but your proctor is on video placing something near his desk. Miss Avery looked like the floor was moving beneath her. Deshawn's voice came out quiet and shaking. So you were trying to set me up? Mr. Rudd snapped. No! Nolan stood slowly. We are stopping this investigation immediately. Mr. Rudd's face went pale. You can't... Nolan's voice turned cold. I can, and you are suspended pending review. Mr. Rudd took a step back. This is ridiculous. Nolan raised a hand. Security will escort you out. Mr. Rudd looked at Deshawn then, pure resentment, like Deshawn had ruined his plan by existing. And in that moment, Deshawn understood something chilling. The accusation was never about integrity. It was about control, about who they believed deserved the scholarship slot, about who they could afford to lose without consequences. Nolan turned to Miss Avery. Why was this escalated publicly? Miss Avery's voice shook. We followed protocol. Keisha's eyes were fire. Protocol that humiliates black students. Miss Avery looked away. Nolan turned back to the footage, replayed the clip once more, and then called the school's legal counsel. Because now it wasn't just a student accusation, it was potential misconduct, possibly criminal, inside a testing environment. The next 2 hours were chaos behind closed doors. Mr. Rudd was questioned. The device was located near Deshawn's station after the exam, tucked behind cable covers. Deshawn had never seen it. He couldn't have. It had been placed where only someone walking the room could reach. The device wasn't even connected to the computer. It didn't need to be. Its purpose was simpler: existence. If they found it and tied it to Deshawn, they could invalidate his score and label him a cheater permanently, a lie that would follow him. Nolan's face grew darker as the reality settled. He was setting up a student, he murmured. Keisha's hands shook. My baby. Deshawn stared at the paused video frame and felt nausea. Not from fear anymore, from realizing how close he came to losing everything he'd worked for because an adult wanted a narrative. Ms. Avery finally spoke, small. This is impossible, Keisha snapped, but you accused him with no problem. Silence. By evening, Eastbrook's headmaster called Keisha and Deshawn into his office with Nolan present. The headmaster, Dr. Wilcox, white 60s, polished, offered an apology that sounded rehearsed. We regret the distress this caused, he said. Keisha replied, distress? You almost destroyed his future. Wilcox's jaw tightened. We are taking immediate action. Mr. Rudd will be terminated. His credentials will be reviewed. We will notify the testing authority. Deshawn's voice was quiet. And the people who accused me? Wilcox hesitated. Ms. Avery and Mr. Garrison acted on available information. Keisha leaned forward. Available bias. Nolan cut in calmly. We're also reviewing procedures. The accusation should not have been made publicly, and Deshawn's score will stand. Deshawn's chest loosened slightly. It better. Dr. Wilcox offered. We'll provide a letter confirming your integrity and the findings of our review. Keisha nodded. Good. And you'll put it in his file, because you were happy to put suspicion there. Wilcox swallowed. Yes. The next week, Eastbrook held a mandatory staff meeting about testing integrity. Mr. Rudd was gone. Ms. Avery kept her job but was removed from test coordination. Mr. Garrison avoided Deshawn in halls like guilt had weight. Students whispered anyway because rumors move faster than truth. But Deshawn's truth had something rumors don't. Footage. Nolan Briggs, to his credit, did something rare. He documented the event formally and ensured the testing authority received the clip and the incident report. He also ensured Deshawn's scholarship nominations went out on time, with a note verifying the investigation cleared him. Deshawn got into the summer program he wanted. He earned a scholarship finalist slot. He kept his future. Still, the experience changed him. One afternoon, as he sat on the bus going home, he looked at his reflection in the window and thought, I did everything right, and they still tried to take it. At home, his little sister asked, Did you pass? Deshawn forced a smile. Yeah, I passed. Keisha watched him quietly from the kitchen. Later, when his sister went to bed, Keisha sat beside him on the couch and said softly, You know why I made them pull the footage? Deshawn nodded. Because they wouldn't just believe me. Keisha's voice cracked. Because sometimes, baby, the truth needs receipts in this world. Deshawn stared at his hands. I hate that. Keisha squeezed his shoulder. Me too. But you learned how to stand your ground, and you didn't let them turn you into their story. Deshawn exhaled slowly. He tried to set me up. Keisha nodded. And you survived it. That was the ending. They accused the black student of cheating because disbelief is easier than admitting a black kid can outscore the ones they expect to win, because a rumor can erase a future faster than truth can defend it. Until the Proctor replayed the security footage, time-stamped, undeniable, and exposed the real deception, the person charged with protecting integrity was the one trying to sabotage it.